This is Weather or Not.
And it is Weather or Not on a Friday. Welcome into the Friday edition.
Yeah, Friday edition. It feels like it's been a long week.
Again.
I don't know why, but we're going to get you through it. I do want to go ahead, though, and start a little bit different here with the first alert because we've been here before.
Yeah.
Increasing wildfire threat.
Yeah, obviously we ended up with just minimal rainfall yesterday. I don't think I saw anybody over, what, a tenth of an inch?
Yeah, we were a tenth of an inch in my house, and even that was
I got just enough to barely to make the pollen on my car look even worse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Where it splattered.
Yes,
Yeah.
it just splatters. So because of that, because of the fact that we have another desert-like round of humidity moving in and gusty winds, we do have that wildfire threat as we head into the weekend, particularly through the day today and especially heading into the day on Saturday.
Yeah, it would not shock me if we see more burn bans issued as we go into
Yeah.
the weekend. We've talked about the statewide one in North Carolina. Just know that as we head into the weekend, low humidity going to be around and breezy winds. It also doesn't help that there's going to be a dry cold front that comes through Saturday and kind of keeps that wind steady as we head into the forecast. So no rain for the weekend, lower humidity, and a breezy wind.
Yeah.
Ripe conditions. for
Yeah, that is
wildfires.
certainly the case. And again, that humidity really critical, especially considering the fact that we didn't really get a lot of rain. Even what little bit of rain we did get to kind of dampen things up quickly dries out. And that gives us the really dry fuel out there so that any fire that gets going will be likely to spread, especially considering those strong winds. Now, we did also yesterday get the latest drought update with some very minor improvements.
Yeah, and keep in mind, we said it, we've been giving you the first alert to this. Any improvement in a drought goes a long way, but it takes a long way to get out of a drought. Last week, 6% of the state was in that severe drought category. Unfortunately, we still have a percentage in the severe drought. It is in our area, too. The South Strand, Garden City, Surfside, down to Murrells Inlet.
Yeah, if you remember back to the downpours we had last Sunday evening, they kind of missed the South Strand. So the 0.6% of the state that is in severe drought is southern Horry County, northern Georgetown County. Garden City, Murrells Inlet, Debadeau, Pawleys Island, Litchfield, still in severe drought.
And if you looked at radar yesterday, unfortunately, that area
Missed out again.
It's just been the way the storms and showers have moved through here, so it doesn't look promising when you look long range on what the forecast looks like.
Yeah, but let's talk about where we did see some improvements. Notice that strip of yellow there from extreme northern Horry County, Dillon County, and Robeson County. They picked up a lot of rain back last Sunday, as did areas back towards the Midlands. Columbia down into Sumter and Orangeburg saw some improvement. Now just in abnormally dry, but this time of the year, things really can dry out in a hurry.
It provides beautiful weather, unfortunately, as you're starting to kind of maybe get the garden and everything ready this weekend, because we know we're getting that time of year. Yeah, it can be tough, especially with no rain. Temperatures in the upper 60s as we head into this weekend. I'm loving the forecast. Low temperatures in the mornings, starting in the low to mid 40s. Afternoons, upper 60s, lower 70s. Yes, still breezy, but a beautiful spring-like weekend on tap.
It's that perfect kind of spring combo. I love a spring day where you can wear like shorts and a sweatshirt.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Where it's just like, it's just enough. It's just enough.
And you don't feel weird because you know we're going to get into the time frame where the warm cup of coffee outside doesn't work.
Right.
It works perfect for
It
this
still
weather.
works. Yeah, with those cool mornings. As far as the trend goes, well, this is pretty easy. We're going to hold it a degree or two either side of 70 through the weekend and all the way into next week. So that is certainly not too bad at all. And we'll also hold on to some somewhat cool nights into the 40s and 50s, a little bit milder as we head into early next week.
Yeah, certainly not a bad forecast. Unfortunately, not a ton of rain either. Let's go ahead and take it coast to coast for your weekend plans. And let's start with the extremes. McAllen, Texas, not just once, but twice. Now back-to-back 92-degree days there, deep in the heart of Texas.
Yeah, and the cold spot, Grand Lake, Colorado, 14 degrees below zero. Grand Lake, about 45 minutes northwest of Breckenridge.
Yeah, Breckenridge is a beautiful place.
Yes, it is.
So
Yes,
Colorado, always,
Grand Lake,
always
close
thinking
to
of it.
Dillon, Colorado.
I did not know that.
Now you know.
Let's go ahead
Oh, you know.
and continue. Let's start with the Midwest. You'll notice we were talking about that system that moved through. Temperature-wise, still going to be a little bit cooler. Northwest winds, fair weather clouds will move in as we go to Saturday. Next weather maker approaching there from the northwest. You'll notice for the first time Yeah, that snowpack not going to show up on our temperature map. 59 in Des Moines as we go into tomorrow. 64 in Huron. You're looking at 64 in Lincoln, Nebraska, and the upper 60s for a nice Saturday in Kansas City.
And really sorry to the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
A miserable Saturday
Right.
forecast for the end of March. 23 for a high temperature in Sault Ste. Marie, 35 in Green Bay. Detroit going to fail to get out of the 30s for Saturday. The Southwest likely going to see another round of gusty winds, although not as extreme as what we've seen in the past 2 weeks, with occasionally some of those hurricane force gusts and dust storms. That's looking pretty quiet there from Tucumcari to Amarillo down into Lubbock, Roswell, most of New Mexico, most of Texas looking nice and quiet and quite warm with those gusty winds blowing. And I'm going to make a run at 90 in Abilene, Texas.
Yeah,
Saturday.
Let's go ahead and take it out to the West Coast, where weather was a little bit more busy across portions of the higher elevations on Friday. They'll deal with some lingering snow showers that will push its way through Montana, and even as you go into Wyoming, you'll notice for the West Coast, a lot of cloud cover, pretty typical. A couple showers also through Oregon. That will also keep those temperatures a little bit cooler as we go into that Saturday forecast. You'll notice those 40s and 50s showing up. You go down into California, 60s for this time of year. They'll certainly take that forecast.
Yeah, going to make a run at 90 as well for Palm Springs and over into Phoenix. Up into the northeast we go, kicking off the weekend. Andrew mentioned that little reinforcing cold front that moves through here. Doesn't have any moisture for showers here. Could bring a couple of showers that maybe transition to a few snow showers and snow flurries across upstate New York, working through places like Burlington, Vermont, down to Montpelier. Could see one or two of those sprinkles and showers coming into Connecticut as well as Western Mass heading into Saturday evening, with temperatures cooling down a little bit behind that front. 30s in Buffalo, warming to near 60 though from Philly into New York City.
And finally, we bring it over to the southeast, and like we talked about, dry air kind of working around. That's why we won't see any showers with that cold front. That cold front's going to be sliding through for your Saturday. Beautiful day. Temperatures here locally going to be okay. Clear skies, a nice calm forecast. Still breezy though as that front approaches as we go into Friday afternoon, Friday evening. We'll take it temperature wise for your Saturday, and a nice forecast here for the southeast. Close to 80 as you go to Orlando, 77 in West Palm Beach. Those upper 60s as we head into Myrtle Beach, and yeah, even 70s still continuing up in Charlotte and the Carolinas. Of course, speaking of the Carolinas, let's continue and check this out. Yesterday, we get it all the time after tropical events and hurricanes. We got kind of the final summary of Hurricane Helene.
Yeah, the National Hurricane Center does what they call post-cyclone reports, where they sort of go through all the data. They analyze how their forecast verified how well they did, and they also provide a really in-depth report as far as the impacts go that a storm brings. And they do this with every single storm, and they just got around to finishing up the report for Helene, which is an incredible read. If you want to see it and want to get all the geeky details on Helene, you can see that at the National Hurricane Center website. But one of the more interesting things that came out of that report was a record-wide tornado in South Carolina.
And you wouldn't know until you read the report and found out about this. You were the one who found it. I read the report this morning. Tell us a little bit more about this record-setting tornado in the Carolinas.
Yeah, look at that. 1,100 yards wide. The tornado here, that was late in the evening on September 26, Cordova, South Carolina. That's about 11 miles as the crow flies southwest of Orangeburg. For a little reference, if you're kind of like me and you don't really work well with yards, that's over a half mile wide, 0.625 miles wide, I believe. It was an EF1 tornado, so as far as strength goes, it wasn't incredibly strong, but again, the width at 1,100 yards, that comes in as the widest tornado ever observed associated with a tropical storm or hurricane.
Which is still really impressive.
Which is a lot of times
so small.
Yeah, a lot of times the tornadoes that you get with tropical storms and hurricanes are small, they're brief, they are typically weak. Helene produced these big tornadoes, again, 1,100 yards wide. A couple of hours later, not far from there, near Sumter, there was another tornado that was 1,000 yards wide. So Yeah, the legacy of Helene just continues to get more impressive here across the Carolinas.
And I saw a couple of things too. Kudos to the people who were doing the damage surveys, because we know what the wind damage alone was like.
Yeah.
So to differentiate that,
Right.
certainly why we're just getting some of those reports. I think it's also worth noting they finally acknowledged it is the deadliest hurricane now since Katrina. So obviously we'll get more of that. And as we learn more about Helene and the recovery efforts, we will let you know. All right, you want to turn a complete 180 here?
Yes, please.
We'll go from Helene to, how about the Friday happy hour?
Friday happy hour.
All right, you
Love
ready
it.
for this? We got
Yes.
some stories here. DoorDash, do you use it often?
A lot.
Okay, well, they're teaming up with Klarna, hopefully that's how you say that, partnering to offer an option to pay in 4 interest-free installments for your food. Apparently, this is a new trend, especially with the younger generation, that instead of just paying for something straight up because they have the money, even with clothing, they want to do it in 4 monthly payments. Like you want to go get a suit, pay it in 4 monthly payments. And this is why we're going to run into some issues with debt down the road.
Why our younger kids are going to be riddled with debt.
And you can now do, so think of all the college kids that are going to abuse this. Think of all the people that are maybe just getting into the job force and thinking, oh, it's just four interest-free payments.
I mean,
that's all it is.
with some of the delivery fees from
Well,
DoorDash,
that is true.
I get it. Yeah, I'd like to get 3 tacos, $47.
Yeah. At that point, I'm getting in the car and I'm driving through.
Right, but man.
Yeah. When with the story played, I was like, there's no way this is real. And you know what? People are going to abuse it.
They are.
They're going to abuse it until they do it the next day. And then they're like, oh, I got a lot of monthly payments to DoorDash.
Yep.
How's this working? All right, wild story here. Let's take you to our next one. This is in South America. Have you heard about this?
No.
Fishermen survived 95 days lost at sea. He departed, went out, brought 2 weeks of food with him. That's
Yeah.
it. 2 weeks of food. His boat was threw off course just off the coast of Peru. He collected rainwater to drink through that. He then eventually found a way to fish and get some fish to survive for 95 days. Before the fish, though, roaches, anything that would come up to the surface, people thought he was long gone, and they just found him this week.
Wow. That's incredible. I always think about that every time I get on a boat. I'm like, all right, is this going to be the one where I'm like lost in a raft at sea? I wouldn't make it maybe 3 hours.
Well, not only that, we were talking to, imagine like, it hits you at some point, right? Like
Right.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, how is
This
this
is
going
probably
to
the end for me.
To keep fighting?
Right.
Ooh.
That's good.
And he's good. They did the medical checks. He's going to be fine. But there's going to be a movie on that one
As
day.
there should be.
If not a TV show as we go into the future. But congrats to him and his family after a long search. All right, this one I picked for you. Here we go. Dictionary.com has crowned a winner for the most popular regional slang term. Y'all
Love it.
took home the prize. This then brought in some of the regions. You could see like up in the north, they used nor'easter. For our area though, y'all beat out stoked.
Good.
Do you use stoked?
No.
Round of 4. I don't even know.
What's the other one with toboggan?
Yonder, toboggan?
Now, are they talking about the hat or the
I don't know.
sled?
So what is that for you?
Toboggan for me is a hat.
It's same.
Yeah.
And then there's people could use like a buggy,
Like,
like a shopping cart. I don't do
It's a
that.
buggy.
Oh, you do a buggy?
yeah.
Oh, no, that's just
you don't hit the button, you mash it. Mash the button.
Mash a button. Warsh.
Warsh.
Warsh is Kentucky.
That's back up in the holler,
Well,
not down here.
it's not south. And then Buckaroo was another one that was on the list. Do you use Buckaroo?
No.
Me either.
If I ever do, just stop me. Say, Jimmy, you just said buckaroo. Hey, way to go, buckaroo.
Is there anything else that you can think of that should be on that list that
No,
you say a lot of?
I do want to find out what the toboggan was, if they're referring to the hat or the sled. So we'll research that and maybe get back to you next Friday.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly what it would be.
But happy to see y'all.
Y'all is on there, and y'all's the winner. Ain't. That's a big one in Kentucky.
Love it.
I know. It's our people. That does it for Friday Happy Hour. Any plans for the weekend?
Not much. Gonna relax, enjoy some time outside, and hopefully not deal with any wildfires.
Yeah, fingers crossed. All right, well, thanks for tuning in, y'all, here on Whether or Not.
Yes.
We'll see you next week.
Y'all have a good weekend.